Greetings YouTube, and Happy New Year. How big is your tribe? Humans have always been tribal. The entire primate line is relatively tribal. The least tribal being the orangutan, and the most tribal being the human. I think we function best in small tribes, 200 members or less. Tribe sizes that allow us to understand and know the members of our tribe. Because once we start dealing with numbers larger than that, when we start to not know the people around us, we don't recognize their faces, we don't know their names, we have no connection to their family pasts, our capacity to empathize with them, to feel sympathy, compassion towards them, lessens. And as the relationships get more and more tenuous over distance, because of population sizes, that ability gets more and more weak. Until eventually, in places far away and in countries that we've never been to and will more than likely never be to, people make blanket statements. They can declare entire social groups, minority groups, as alien or bad or unclean or what have you. And at the root of all this, of course, is the fear of the unknown. And that combination, that inability to feel compassion and the fear of the unknown, is what leads to pogroms and ghettos, internment camps, wars. In the video I did about the Swiss ban on minarets, and I've done two, I did the initial report, then I did a follow-up, there have been a number of opinions expressed that I don't agree with. That should probably come as no surprise as anyone who's watched more than a few of my videos. One of the persons took what I consider to be a interesting and distressing position. That essentially, because I am not Swiss, I do not live in Switzerland, I cannot vote in Swiss elections. Because of this, I should have no opinion. That I should not express a view about what the Swiss do. I disagree with this position. Because for me, even though I've never been to Switzerland, I don't even know if I've ever encountered a Swiss citizen in my day-to-day life, I consider Switzerland to be part of the human tribe. And I am a member of that tribe, just as every single person that lives within the borders of Switzerland is a member of that tribe. Regardless of whether they were born in Switzerland, they immigrated to Switzerland, regardless of whether they are atheist or Christian or Muslim or Jew or pagan. That for me, the human tribe is an all-encompassing sphere. It includes every single person that is alive today, that has ever lived, or that shall ever live. Because of that, because humanity is my business, if I may borrow the term from Jacob Marley, I am entitled to an opinion. That it is my duty as a humanitarian, as a human, to express an opinion when I see something that is going on that I think is bad for humanity. Particularly when I see a minority group being dominated, exploited at the hands of a majority. Then yes, I see bans on religious structures and religions in general as a prejudicial, intolerant, negative act. One that cannot be disguised in any way, shape or form as something other than an act of covert bigotry. And even less subtle than some of the things that the Republican parties do in America when they talk about tax cuts. So whenever they talk about cutting funding or cutting taxes, they're talking about cutting the parts of the federal and state budgets which benefit the poor the most, because the wealthy are the least affected by those. So all those tax cuts, all those budget cuts, are very much backhanded means of eliminating policies and programs that help poor people. And if you don't think that's true, follow the money. 60 years ago, they would have just called black people niggers. Then it became colors, or colored. Then it became African American. And after a while, you couldn't even say that without branding yourself as a political bigot. So they began to use covert means. Equal opportunities, busing, low-income housing, and begin to affect those programs, because that way they can affect the people that benefit from those programs. In the same way, this ban in Switzerland may be about a physical structure on a holy building, but in reality, it's a very pointed message to the Muslim community in Switzerland, and that message is, you are not welcome here. As I've said in the past, in the U.S., particularly in the South, during the nadir of our racial relations, and occasionally, sometimes even today, that message is sometimes brought to people with a burning cross. But in Switzerland, this message is being brought to them with a law. It doesn't make it any better. It doesn't make it any easier to swallow. But since I am a member of the human tribe, since humanity is my business, I will express an opinion when I see an injustice, when I see a minority group being stamped upon by the majority. And this is my channel. I express my views here. I try to treat the people that come to my channel in the comment section with respect. I will listen to their comments. I will not block them. I will not edit their ability to express themselves. I am a firm believer in the First Amendment. But it doesn't mean I'm going to agree with you. It doesn't mean I'm going to think you're a nice person. It doesn't mean I may not just point at you and say, you know, you're a bigot. And if you try to hide behind the hands off, it's not my country, it's not my business position, I'm going to disagree with you. There are policies I will agree that aren't my business. But when minority groups are having their rights taken away, when it's the first step towards a very, very ugly place, I will speak my mind. Or at least, during the new year I will.